Welcome to All-in-One. The Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle GSLV Mark III, also referred to as the Launch Vehicle Mark III or LVM-3, is the heavy launch vehicle developed by the Indian Space Research Organisation, ISRO. It is intended to launch satellites into geostationary transfer orbit, GTO, and as a launcher for an Indian crew module. The GSLV Mark III features an Indian cryogenic third-stage engine. An Ariane 5 is a European heavy-lift launch vehicle that is part of the Ariane rocket family, an expendable launch system used to deliver payloads into geostationary transfer orbit, GTO, or low Earth orbit, LEO. Ariane 5 rockets are manufactured under the authority of the European Space Agency, ESA. Let's see the main difference between GSLV Mark III and Ariane 5. Let's start with origin of country. GSLV Mark III is developed by India and Ariane 5 is developed by European Space Agency member state that include 22 member states. GSLV Mark III is 43.4 meter tall and Ariane 5 is 50.5 meter tall. The diameter of GSLV Mark III is 4 meter and Ariane 5 has larger diameter than GSLV Mark III, it is around 5.4 meter. The liftoff mass of GSLV Mark III is 640 tons or 1,410,000 pounds and Ariane 5 has a liftoff mass much greater than GSLV Mark III, it is around 780 tons or 1,713,000 pounds. Now payload launching capacity of rockets to low Earth orbit, LEO. This orbit ranges from 160 km to 2,000 km. In this orbit satellite mostly pass over or near the poles. For one complete revolution around the Earth, satellites in this orbit take around 90 minutes. The GSLV Mark III has payload launching capacity to LEO is around 8 tons or 18,000 pounds. While Ariane 5 has payload launching capacity to LEO is much greater than GSLV Mark III, it is more than 20 tons or 44,000 pounds. Now payload launching capacity to geostationary transfer orbit, GTO, this orbit is 35,786 km above sea level. For one complete revolution around the Earth, satellites in this orbit take around 24 hours. GSLV Mark III can launch 4 tons or 8,800 pounds of payload to GTO, while Ariane 5 can launch up to 10.8 tons or 23,953 pounds of payload to GTO. The GSLV Mark III is 3-stage vehicle while Ariane 5 is 2-stage vehicle. GSLV Mark III took the first flight on December 18, 2014 and Ariane 5 took the first flight on June 4, 1996. The total number of launch of GSLV Mark III is 2 and both the launches are successful. The total number of launch of Ariane 5 is 93 but out of 93 launches 89 launch was successful and only 2 launches were failed with 2 partial launch failure. Now the success rate, GSLV Mark III has a success rate is absolute 100% while Ariane 5 has success rate is around 95%. The launching cost of each GSLV Mark III is between $46 to $62 million depending on weight of satellite and the launching cost of each Ariane 5 is much greater than launching cost of GSLV Mark III, it is around $165 to $220 million. Now major advantage for GSLV Mark III is cost effectiveness of rocket while major advantage of Ariane 5 is that you can launch 2 heavy satellite with single rocket. Both the rockets are currently active. And finally, conclusion: the GSLV Mark III is new rocket while Ariane 5 is very mature, much stronger rocket. Ariane 5 is much more reliable than GSLV Mark III. The only advantage of GSLV Mark III against Ariane 5 is cost effectiveness. But Indian Space Organization ISRO scientists believe that after few changes GSLV Mark III can launch much more payload than it is doing now. The success of GSLV Mark III rocket is game changer for India, and it is expected that India is going to take around 10 to 15% of world's over $300 billion space market. If you like this video and want more video like this, please like, share and subscribe.